All right, I'm here with actor Ari Butler, who is currently filming a project that we'll go into a little bit towards the end of the interview. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to become an actor. I know you went to Tisch. Did you go to school with that intention before you went to Tisch? Like in high school, did you want to act, or did that?
The truth is no. I thought I was going to be a doctor.
Really?
A geriatric doctor. I always felt like I had a good disposition to help people live out the end of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the math on baby boomers, and I thought that would be a really great path to follow. I also was getting to do, the roles in high school, and so my father actually said, why don't you give it a try? It would be a shame for you not to know if you could be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided I would audition at one school, Tisch. If I got in, that would be a sign. If I didn't, I'd follow my logical path. I auditioned early decision, got into Tisch, and studied
The
drama.
rest is history. Yeah.
And there it is.
The rest is history. That's all we have to say. We don't have to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
So you primarily focused and did a ton of theater work once you were enrolled in Tisch, and you performed regionally and off-Broadway.
Well, I think when I got out of school in 2003, there was still much more TV and certainly film on the West Coast, but now, from what I hear, the math is that there's as much TV here as there is on the West Coast, but that wasn't the case
Back then, right?
Back then. So, we were here to do theater. Everyone who went to Tisch, if you wanted to do TV, you moved to California.
Moved to California, yeah. So would that have changed your, not decision, I guess, to stay in theater? Would you have gone right after TV and film roles if the option was available, or did you
Honestly,
you started?
I would go wherever
A job was?
wherever I could do work.
Yeah.
I was in LA for a little, and I was getting a lot of commercial auditions, and that is great.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something inside of me that was saying, it's not what I set out to do. I set out to make a living, of course, but I could be auditioning for commercials in New York. So that time was very short, and I came back here, and you're looking at my resume, and certainly theater filled me up in the first handful of years, even decade of my career so far.
Do you feel that really prepared you for being on a set? What's your feelings on the theater versus film and television?
I wish I ever felt prepared. As a human, everything prepares you for everything, but there's a benefit to feeling slightly underprepared because new things happen. I know I personally get in trouble when I feel like I did it exactly how I planned. That doesn't ever seem to get me the results I'm looking for. It just makes me feel like I did my homework. In theater, you prepare, you figure out the moments. There's a lot of work in rehearsal and in your bathroom that goes into crafting a performance. On set, on a show, I've discovered you have to do a lot of that work on your own, but it happens so quick. So I don't know, preparedness isn't something that I have felt too often in working on film.
And now you also, once you started doing television episodic work, you did Dietland and Person of Interest and Blue Bloods and The Get Down. You did a lot of the New York shows, which is great as a young actor coming up. Do you feel you learned on those sets with your exposure to other people?
Yeah.
And just the craft of the acting to what you're doing now?
Yeah, the memory that pops into my head was being on the set of The Get Down with one of my heroes, Eric Bogosian. And he was in the scene that I was doing on The Get Down. And to answer your question, I learned a lot from him, especially to just watch unequivocally a theater guy doing the work, really the same level of work on set. Each take bringing something new to it, experimenting with things, trying things that didn't work, staying in the moment, rewinding without calling cut, getting what he needed to get done. Watching him work was really helpful.
It's got to be inspiring for a young actor as well to be embraced by someone who's been in the business and learn from them. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's doing an interview talking about embracing me, but
you don't know that.
but I certainly learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
You know.
And now, as we teased in the beginning, you are part of a very established show that you're currently filming.
Yeah, I'm on Power.
Yeah. I beat around the bush. He came right out with it. What was that audition experience like for you going in? And did you know at the time you were going into audition that it was going to be a long-term gig? And did that put any extra pressure on you?
No. You know, lesson for us all to remember, all of us, meaning people who go to auditions.
Mm-hmm.
I was called in to meet a new casting director, and I had the opportunity to read 3 lines for one of their episodes, and it was a medic, and I did my very professional audition.
And there was your medical background that you were going to be when you
yeah.
So it really came full circle for you.
And when they called to say that I didn't get that job,
Mm-hmm.
they said, but, you know, good audition, and my agent and manager and I were like, okay, good auditions count. And then 4 or 5 weeks later, the day before the table read, I got a phone call saying, we found something for Ari, and it's a recurring role. And you don't know what that means. Like,
Right.
You don't know if they built a set that was a restaurant, and they just wanted the same maitre d' to, welcome the characters in every episode. You don't know what that means, because I didn't audition for the role that I have. So I showed up to the table read and was handed a script and read the script, and then each episode so far they've written really interesting stuff. It's not a maitre d'. I've gotten to be a part of the story. And so this is, whatever happened in that audition for the medic turned into a much bigger deal.
Yeah. What I'd love to ask you, and I'm going to, since I'm interviewing you, I get to ask.
I have friends who watch the
Mm-hmm.
show. My parents have friends who watch the show. The ones that I've told, you're not allowed to say anything on social media or really in an interview like this.
Right.
But the ones that I've told, I'm doing this thing, they're excited. I'm excited. Of course I'm excited. Being recognized, yeah, I guess that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty private. I have a 4-year-old son, so
I was just going to ask,
I wonder if I'll have to change some of my habits.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think it's important. Like, obviously, this is a lot of fun. We're shooting now, then it's going to start to air.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know in a career if you're at the high point. Like, I'm doing a cool thing right now. I don't know if this is as good as it's ever going to get.
Right.
Or if, maybe this is like the beginning of
the beginning.
who the hell knows.
Right.
But I'm just trying to, like, enjoy this.
Yeah.
And, sure, that would be cool if someone said, oh, you were that guy who... I do that to
Mm-hmm.
actors.
Yeah.
I ran into Samantha Bee today, and I had that moment. Oh, hi, you're so great. Like, I'm sure that felt good for her. People recognize me. There's
Mm-hmm.
fun in that. I hope our industry recognizes me. I'd love to be on everybody's show.
Yeah.
That's the recognition I'd like. It's just opportunity to do what my father set me on the course to do, to see if I could make a living doing this and enjoy a life doing this. That's really the only hope, the only thing I dream about.
Right.
I don't worry, I don't fret about how my life will change. I haven't been struck with that reality, so maybe I'm being naive, I don't know.
What are some of the challenges for you being a father and being an actor in terms of, I could be gone shooting for X amount of time during the day, or I might have to go away on a weekend, and what challenges have you found in that? Or not challenges, because then there's some days you're not working on filming, so you can be with your son.
Well, first of all, I'm fortunate in a lot of ways. My wife is also a working actor.
Mm-hmm.
So we both are living this life. With with the theater, you know, I'm going to have a 3-week or a 6-week rehearsal process, and then I'll leave to do my show Tuesday through Sunday. It's a little easier to figure out your life. With the TV stuff, they call you, you know, 2 days before, and they tell you your call time. So you just sort of have to be more at the ready. But in terms of balance, look, when we're not working, or even when we are working and there's just time in between, like, we're home. Our kid sees us a lot.
Yeah.
We figure it out. I mean, I would say 70% of the conversations I have with my wife are about logistics.
Right.
No nanny would work with us. I can't say every Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday we'll need support. No, you just figure it out. It's complicated. It's fun. We wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, and I guess having a wife that's an actress also helps in both ways. Like, she knows where you're coming from, you know where she might have to work this time, and I guess you just have to, like you said, figure it out.
Yeah, we figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, she's, without saying, again, any details, she'll be traveling to a lot of the world's biggest cities this year. A lot of our friends, when they heard about the job we were thinking about, signing the contract for, or her signing the contract for, were like, they couldn't even believe that we could consider that, like that was a possibility. But that's just how our life is structured. We say yes, we go and we do amazing things. Sometimes they're terrible, but you always go into them feeling they're going to be amazing. And we figure it out. When I got out of school, the biggest lesson, the thing I was struck with, is that if you don't know how to be yourself, and I know that's like we're all in therapy trying to figure it out, but like if you can't stand in the room and just be with people and breathe, and your brain is able to function, like if you can't even do that, you're never going to like be some other realistic character.
Right.
So, really finding your center and knowing who you are, and that constantly changes. But like, I don't mean like who you are, like what religion you are, what politics are, but like how do I breathe? Like, how does it even feel if I'm just, you use the word grounded. Like, what does that feel like if I'm in the room and present and actually hearing people talk? I think that is the beginning. I know I got out of school when I was like, ambition, like, I'm gonna impress everybody, and that like totally didn't work, like, right? And then I think the second thing that really struck me as like an important learning is, even when you're successful, there's a lot of time waiting for your next job. It's been very rare where, and I think everyone would say this, where you knew like what my next 3 projects were, where you could look out 3 years and know what it looked like. You have to get really comfortable with that in-between time. And it certainly helps if you are thinking about having a family and you don't want to feel guilty about taking your wife, your partner out to dinner every time. Like, it helps to like figure out how you're gonna have an income in between. And this podcast isn't about side jobs, but man, you want to figure out, again, how to be a person in your own life. And we're in New York City. Is that obvious?
Yeah.
We're in New York City. Like, how are you going to sustain yourself? Because if you're, in your second decade of doing this, and you couldn't figure out how to afford your life in your first decade doing this, then you're just simply not here when finally power calls, or whatever sort of crack you get to walk through. You have to be here.
Yeah. So I think that's a really great place to end, and I look forward to talking to you when Power starts airing.
I hope it's good, man. I hope it's good.
Well, from what we've talked about, I think it's going to be good.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
I can't say anything more, but man, if you were into the show for the first 5 seasons, strap on your seatbelt. Do you
ever miss performing in theater, like the singing? And I know you were in Bye Bye Birdie and Little Shop of Horrors.
Well, just 2 years ago, I got to do at the Cleveland Playhouse, Little Shop of Horrors. I got to play Seymour, and then right after that, it was a rare time in my life where I had 2 jobs lined up. I got to do Finch at the Marriott Theater in Chicago. You know, that is a totally different experience than doing what I'm doing now. But
yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're probably not singing on Power.
No, no.
I don't think there's a lot of song and dance on that.
No, it's very different.
Unless you go in tomorrow and you tell them, hey, for my next appearance, I think we should bust out into song and see what they say.
The other difference is like when you get done, like no one claps for you. Every time I walked on that, people would clap, but you got to like sing these ballads and there's music. I mean, when you do a play, there's that energy too. But I should be careful here. It's not dissimilar on the set. You're basically, you're doing 15 takes of everything. So you are doing that repetitive thing, trying to keep it fresh, discover new things. It's just that when it's over, it's over.
Right. And I had this conversation with another actor the other day when we were doing an interview, and it's almost like everyone is there on a set to do their job.
Yeah.
The camera person is there to do their job. They want to do their job as best they can.
And on a show like Power, they're all really good.
Right. Where theater, everybody has come to see you, and you're the focal point in terms of you're the one everybody's watching to put on a performance and to ensnare the audience, where your audience on a television show may not necessarily be honed in on you the same way during a theater performance.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, you mentioned some of the other TV work I did. When you go in to do those jobs, and man, you appreciate every opportunity you get, but you're saying 3 to 6 lines of exposition, you're forwarding the plot, you're like trying not to move your head too much when you talk. They're filming from over your shoulder. You're hoping that they use the shot where the camera's on your face instead of over here. You never know what's going to happen. Power is my first experience where every week or two I get to go back to set. I know the people. We're telling a story. There's things that my character does that provokes the plot, and I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Of course, yeah.
I hope that I can count on those being very visible scenes.
Well, and that familiarity probably helps as an actor in terms of just being comfortable knowing you're part of an ensemble who's really making a difference in the show as opposed to...
We're talking about the difference between theater and film or TV. One day on set is very stereotypically what we described, but the experience I'm having at Power, I mean, the other actors we take really good care of each other. We really get into making sure that the story's being told. The directors are really smart, and they're making sure like all the moments are unfolding. Everyone's taking really good care of Power now for 4.5 months. That's longer than most of the Off-Broadway plays have run that I've been in. So, I'm not there every day. I'm not even there every week.
Right.
But it's been really warm. It's been exceptionally professional.
That's great.
And it's really exciting to walk on to their sound stages and to meet these characters and to work with them. It's high level, man.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you to air and to see how things change and propel you in a whole other direction, possibly.
that would be great.
Yeah.
If
I say it, it comes true. Don't you realize the power of my voice?
Well, I'm revealing my hope.
Yeah.
The dreamer in me.
Your innermost.
We're all working so hard.
Yeah.
It's great when that stuff happens, I imagine. I see it happen to friends, and it looks really enjoyable. But the benefit is that you get to keep working.
It was an absolute pleasure interviewing you.
Yeah,
Can't wait
nice
to
meeting you.
do it again.
I'll come back. Check out the show.
Please come back, and thank you so much.